Hey, Daniel, tell me a little bit about yourself. What makes you tick and what makes you get up every morning and have those feet hit the floor and get you running?
I'm afraid of dying.
You're listening to Scaling Up, a podcast for business leaders.
Yeah, I have a saying called living is winning. So I wake up every day knowing that I have an opportunity, and not everybody's given that opportunity. So I jump out of bed and try to handle as many tasks as I can because I don't know if the next day is given to me or not.
Yeah, no, hey, we all have to be thankful and appreciative of what we have. And yeah, I think, nowadays it's great to be able to do that and think about what we can do and how we can help others. So let me ask you this, as you're doing it and you're getting up and running, what makes you successful in getting up every day and helping others and really driving something like that and getting your task done?
Yeah, so I have a philosophy is you have to fall in love with the problem, you don't fall in love with the solution. So being able to look at things, even though if you think it's the best idea, to throw it out the door. You may work tremendously hard at it and think that this is the only way to do it, and you can't. You bump your head the next morning and you find out that just like creating the flux capacitor, that there's a way to do it, and you go and try to achieve the greatness. So I always fall in love with the problem, not the solution, because being able to um, pull information in from all aspects of life and to stop, readjust, realign, and then implement.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head. One of the big things that I always look at is the journey. Trying to understand it, trying to understand, what's the best thing not only for, the organization, the business, what I'm working on, but also for the team that's there as well. There are a lot of times where you step back and you take a look at it and you begin to say to yourself, hey, how can I make this better for everyone to be able to not only grow as a business, as a company, but also individually? How do we help those folks grow at the same time? So as you think about that, you think about your journey and what you're doing and everything you said about, the challenge and the problem, how has that led to your success in the businesses that you've worked on?
Great question. First off, I don't think of myself as successful. So, I come in with a failure mindset, but that failure mindset has an ego, is you always want to be able to put your wins as yesterday's, but you're starting at zero today. So, what trying to keep in personal growth with people is you want to be able to understand how to help them, but you have to prioritize not only helping them, but being able to understand how to implement success for the organization and also implement success for the individuals. And sometimes it cannot be created; they have to be prioritized, which is key for each other.
Yeah. So do you have an example of one time where like, hey, you had to and it sounds like you had to make some trade-offs and you had to think through them. Sometimes, hey, the individual is the one that is successful, and other times it's the company, and sometimes it's both. What are some strategies or tactics that you use that help, the win focus in a certain area at a certain point in time?
Well, I think everybody wants to be on Kobe Bryant's team, the great Kobe Bryant, but nobody wanted to be his teammate, so because they want to be able to push each other. And so what I'm trying to communicate is sometimes when you have A players, it all starts in the hiring process and the screening process and making sure that you have the right mindset, and the mindset is key to be able to understand greatness. You know, there's this famous saying, there's no um, I in team, but there's an I in win. So when you're interviewing these people and you're cultivating success, is you want to understand, when it's a stressful situation, it's not a personal situation. And it's a very difficult thing to transition from a personal situation to a team situation. And so what I've seen in the is when you're hiring great people and the teammates that you're having along the way is they're able to transition very quickly.
Got it. It's interesting because when you talk about that transition very quickly, that probably ties into your culture.
Oh, yes.
So how is like developing your culture really impacted, that and what you guys are trying to do and help out in your interview process? Sorry about the loaded question there. It's
No,
just
no,
my
no.
mind led me to think about it.
That's why they put in you and culture,
Yeah.
because that's who it starts with. I know that, I'm very difficult to be around and work in a corporate environment because I don't think of things in a corporate mindset. Am I moving up the ladder? Am I moving down the ladder? Who's going to view this? What is my review process going to be? Early on in my career at Northrop Grumman, which is a great career, and it helped me understand engineering and the mindset for success. But I knew that it was going to be a very, very difficult career because I didn't have the same mindset. I believed I owned Northrop Grumman. I believed that everything that I was doing was the key to success, and that's not the same. So as I transitioned out of the corporate world into startups and scale ups and, smaller type companies, is you put a dot on a map and a goal and you go there. You don't have to bring along a lot of people on the journey. So that you and culture is because that's what you are. And when you can explain it and you understand it, you can help organization, your leadership, your mentors understand what you want to be.
Yeah, that's great. Let me ask you this. So as you're building that culture, are there some like must-haves that, hey, these are table stakes that we as a team need to operate under. And if we're looking to add new team members, if I don't see this in the interview process, they're not a good fit. Not saying that that individual won't be successful. It's just we can't set the right foundation for them to achieve success here.
Yeah, I mean, going back to, the subject of the podcast, market domination. I'll say that again so you can recut it. Going up to the purpose of the podcast, niche market domination, is you have to understand that there's a fuse, and having the right people in understanding the timeline of everything that you're trying to communicate is I always tell everybody that, right role, wrong person, wrong person, wrong role, so there's an ability to hire the right person, but you put them in the wrong role. And then you have the right role, but you don't have the right person. And that can actually be uh how personality comes out is how they handle those tasks. So when creating domination within a market is your belief is the journey that you're doing, not the accolades that you're getting along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of
That's awesome.
self-sacrifice.
It is, and it's building the team. So that's when you get into it. How do you like and thank you for the segue. As you begin to look at it, you're focusing in on that niche market. How do you determine, hey, this is where I want to go, and this is how I can dominate that market to say it's worth my time, it's worth the investment, it's worth me leading a team to get to where we can be considered as leaders, as cutting edge for my niche in this market.
Yeah, so to further expand upon your question, I never um go after a certain market. I see how many people can I help, and if there's a market, I mean, I could sell hot dogs. That's a niche market domination on a corner. If I'm creating technology how many other people are going to be focused, how many other smart people are going to be focused at this, that's niche market domination. And and what I believe is so important when you're doing that is as you're, using these MBA buzzwords, KPIs and all this other stuff, is to be able to, when you are focused, those metrics fall out. You don't go into them with a certain purpose. You don't say, how are we going to track this? that's a corporate mindset is to be able to say, "Oh, it'd be really great if we could track this." No, you have the success and you're like, "Oh, well, this is why we're successful." So to be able to understand that when you are growing a market, and as an example of post process, I changed the English language. Prior to me buying the domain name postprocess.com off of GoDaddy, no one really associated it with 3D printing. It was a thing in the industry, but I put it together and now we trademarked it. And now, putting post process together is, it's a niche market, and as we're growing the company, it was not an afterthought of additive manufacturing. It's a forethought. So, and the reason why I did it is because there was a tremendous amount of smart people that were associated with 3D printing on the printing side, but there was not as many smart people. Not that there's a knock against those smart people, it's just the focus was all on the print, not the after process.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this, as you're looking to dominate in that, post process is market. How did you know as you were going along that, hey, what I thought could happen to get me to that start of domination is occurring
Fear.
and you felt confident? Fear.
Fear is a great motivator. I mean,
Okay.
to be the day that I called my mortgage company and I said, what's going to happen if I stop paying you? And they said, we're going to foreclose. And I said, okay, how long is that going to take? And they said 18 to 24 months. And I said, all right, that's how much time I have. So I knew that I could be successful. I just didn't understand how long it would take to be successful. And
Got it.
through the trials and tribulations of scaling up post process is sometimes I don't believe that I want to be successful, because if this is the feeling, and it's pardon me, and it's a gut feeling,
Voice.
you don't want to be uh successful. You just want to fall in love with the problem and let everybody else deal with the things that are not the problem.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've gotten to that point from fear to confidence. And what I mean is, hey, I know we're successful. I don't have to have that fear that we're going to fail. I don't have to have the fear that I'm calling back my mortgage company about foreclosure. What were like some of those stages or steps that you all of a sudden, and it might have been an epiphany,
Yeah.
you're in Chicago walking through O'Hare, an airport, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, now I know we made it.
I think it's the belief, and I think to quote, and these are loose quotes, but um I think the gentleman name was Mr. Penske, Roger Penske. He said that in racing there's a board meeting every week, so winners and losers. So if you use that mindset to be able to know that, is this week a win or is this week a loss? And the epiphany moments, I drove 100,000 miles in 1 year, on multiple rental cars delivering products, because I knew that if I could charge the customer the $3,000 to deliver it and get it there, then that was revenue that the company had. So going back, the niche market domination is to be able to keep your revenue, your expenses in-house versus externally just helps you. And they don't teach you this in MBA school. They don't teach you. I remember at Northrop Grumman, they're like, well, in order to be a manager, you have to have your MBA. And I went for my MBA, and I think I've learned more knowledge, being a farmer, for how to run a business than, sitting on, what is the KPIs that we're going to use to configure to understand. Because I don't call them performance indicators, I call them problems indicators, because they're all lying. Everybody's job is based upon, how well it's going, not how well it's not
Yeah,
going.
yeah. Well, it's also, it's interesting that you say that. So let me ask you this. Um, it sounds like you had some challenges that you faced on your
Oh,
journey into dominating the niche market. You know, how did you overcome it?
my gut feel, and it's a great question. My gut feel is the answer is short-term memory. To be able to optimize short-term memory. You can't throw a failure out the window and be like, oh, well, fail fast. I'm not about machine learning. I'm all about machine failure because if you're learning from your failures, then you're building upon success. If you're learning upon success, you don't know what failures are underneath. So, with my computer mindset is to be able to understand that, you can have so much data being pulled in, but if you're not prioritizing why the failures are occurring, you're not really learning. You're just trying to build on someone else's success. So I think every, successful person, including yourself, with the Scaling Up podcast, is you're gonna have some failures every day. You're gonna have technical failures, you're gonna have bandwidth failures, you're gonna have every, opportunity to fail. But it's the success of when it works. That's what helps get up every day and understand the market domination.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So it sounds like, and I love the way you did that. You helped people learn through their failures. So it kind of sets that up in your culture that, hey, you're not failing, you're learning in a process. You're learning, how to make yourself better, how to make everything around the company better. From a leadership standpoint, what were some key things that you had to do? And what did you think that, your leadership role played in that crucial opportunity to take that group and that team and the business to that next level?
Gosh. I mean, I struggle with that every day. I mean, every single day, there's a difference between leadership and management, and when you manage from the middle, you only protect yourself, so the people that are at the top, they get, you know, um, recourse to the people that are in the middle, and then the people at the bottom, they get fired. So being able to understand, are you a manager or a leader? And I often see myself as a very good leader, very poor manager. I've never fulfilled a lot of roles outside of the military as a manager. Because as a leader, I was always told to, go this certain flight plan, do this. And as a leader in post process, you know, I have over 41 patents and growing, so I was told, to be able to um, focus on making sure our technology and our ideas are investable, and then making sure that they're differentiatable. So creating a growing technology portfolio of over 50, 100 patents in a little less than 10 years. So to be able to understand where you are going to lead and where you're going to manage.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this so that people understand, because I think you're hitting on some great points there. The difference between leadership and management, how do you see that? Because I think that's where a lot of people and a lot of entrepreneurs who are looking to scale their company run into that challenge and they don't understand the difference. But it sounds like you've clearly kind of figured that one out.
I've been, I mean, I've had threats of people jokingly trying, wanting to kill my wife, to,
Wow.
yeah, to being called I'm not a senior leader, to, and these were all fear mechanisms. People are afraid of things they don't understand, and it's so much easier to reject than it is to accept. You know, so uh I I've learned that I'm good with a small, tight group of people. You know, maybe it comes from my military training days, a team of 10 to 12, that, there's no rank amongst us. You get stuff done, but there's priority within subject matter experts, the gentleman that if there's going to be a technical question, my priority is going to probably be one of the highest, right? As far as, opinion. If it's a marketing thing, yeah, the marketing person is going to have the ultimate decision making, but I'll have a unique way of looking at it because I'll bring in a different data set. When managing, people have expectations, and I don't know if it's current society or, Western society of what their boss looks like. So I don't wear fancy pants every day. I don't, I wear hoodies and I'm not trying to be Mr. Zuckerberg and I'm not trying, it's just I don't put a lot of thought in my, physical presentation, of an outfit. I want to work out and look nice, get the man candy, but I want to be able to put all my devotion into the problems.
Well, I'll be honest with you, your post-processed quarter zip's pretty sweet. So I wouldn't kind of say you guys shy on the year there. So you're doing great,
Yeah,
Dale. I think it's interesting. If I heard you correctly, you're bringing together a team of experts on the technical side, a marketing side, maybe an engagement side, maybe a finance side, to kind of collectively work together and kind of help that scale. Do you see that as one of the keys to you being able to drive your niche to that point of dominance?
so the term or the phrase I coined is you want to be collaboratively combative. So you want the friction, but you also want the respect. So you want to be able to communicate when there's a sucky idea. And so I had um I had lots of books. I'm not a big book reader, but I give me a cliff notes and I'll read it and I'll get the idea and I'll move forward. But you don't always want to pop the balloon. The Bill Gates theory, you have everybody in the room and then he walks in and you pop the balloon. But you want to be understanding, is it the right balloon that we're floating? So we get um, in the corporate environment, you get plugged into the machine, and when you're plugged into the machine, there's never a bad idea, right? But when you're trying to dominate, you want the good ideas to funnel up. So that means there's a lot of bad ideas, and you have to be able to have that insecurity to say, that was a bad idea.
Oh, and like I say to people, and this is where you do balance it. It's like, hey, it's not an idea at the right time in the right place. Maybe it's market
Sure.
circumstance, maybe it's, company readiness, maybe we don't have the right members of the team aligned. And so you have to begin to have that honest and I love the way you do it. You're having that open, honest, and direct
Yeah.
conversation where you're proactively, aggressively discussing. And you agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, you have that respect of each other that, hey, what Daniel was saying is the right thing. And yeah, though my heart really wants this thing to move forward, I understand what he's saying. And we do have to take that step back and look at it. I like the what was it? Collectively combating? Collaboratively
Collaboratively
combat.
combative. So
That's awesome. So in order to get the right person to fit into that mold, what are a couple of the characteristics that you'll look for in there?
well, I can tell you that you will find more people that don't fit into it than people that do. And usually when you're trying to um there are more people driving tow trucks that would fit in the role than there are sitting in classrooms. And the reason why I say that is you want to have a little bit of grit, but you also want to be able to keep your eyes open, you know? So um the perfect student doesn't necessarily translate to the perfect employee, because or the perfect team member. The um you have to understand that everybody wants to be big, but you want to operate small. So to be able to understand that a small company can't act like a big company and a big company can't act like a small company. You want to understand what your size is and are you ready for this layer of management, this layer of objectives. You want to be able to have a goal, but if you sit down and write down, you know, 90 days worth of OKRs and you only have manpower of 2% to complete those are aspirational dreams, not stuff that you can build on. So you want to be able to not be trending, when you're hiring people. You don't want to hire on people's past successes. Oh, and I'm just using this example. It doesn't just because I'm successful in niche market domination and post process and additive manufacturing does not mean I'm going to be successful in makeup niche market domination. I might have a skill set that allows me to be a little bit more successful, but you know, I can't write a book and say these are the steps, go through it.
Yeah, it's what's, and it's also that passion that's in there too, right? To say, hey, this is where I want to be,
It's
and what I want to do.
I like how you use the
Interesting.
word passion, and I'm sorry for stepping over you. I think
Notice.
it's probably passion and fear, because
Yeah,
you can do a lot with fear. Not fear like you're gonna get beat up, but fear of, wow, if I don't make this successful, what am I going to do?
yeah. So interesting, and also not only successful. I know people who say, hey, in order for me to really dominate my market, I want to get to a point where I don't have to worry about competition.
Yeah.
And I begin to say to myself, my fear is, did I honestly say to myself at the end of the day that I gave 110%, that I made myself and I allowed people to make me 1% better than when I walked in the door this morning? And so their fear is, how did I get better and how did I perform in the best I could? Because if I can, we had it right, we're going to dominate our niche and get there.
Yes.
And so it's one of those things about challenging, which is where that passion comes in at is, did I really challenge myself to be the best I can be this day?
And you want to do that internally and externally. Um,
Mhm.
as a person inside of a company and externally as a company to, other companies. So
Yeah.
so
Partners, customers,
yep.
anyone.
Anybody
Yeah.
that's touching your product,
Hmm.
anybody that's wearing your logo, any customer that's using your machines or technology, anybody that comes in contact, and to be able to um yeah, further exacerbate and move, and really hit it on is it goes back to the culture, as you're building that, failure is an option, but failure is also success. And to be able to um understand how you are implementing, your market domination. Everybody, you want competition. I mean, there's several ways for companies to fail, and the biggest one is externally or internally, and there are a lot more companies that fail because of internal problems than external problems. And and the your competition always thinks you're better than them anyways, right? And you think that you're better than them, but being able to really own and understand that this is where you are and this is who you want to present and then who you want to be.
Yeah, I love that. I appreciate that, and it sounds like a great way to challenges there. Sometimes you hear that old adage like, "Hey, they would be successful if they can get out of their own
Yeah.
way." You kind of look at it from that standpoint. So one of the things I'm going to take a step back from a couple, I love the passion discussion can go on forever about it. But when you think about it too, you're also talking in there, hey, as you're moving and you're looking to scale up, when's the right time? Because you want to get ahead of that curve so that you're understanding, hey, what's the resources and what's the operational excellence that I need to put together in order to allow us to achieve that next level of growth to continue or further dominate the market. How do you like see that and understand like, okay, this is how we need to adjust. This is how we need to evolve. Because what got me from point A to point B is not going to get me from point B to point C.
Yeah, if I could stress enough is mental health. I struggle with it. Um, and being able to understand where you are and how your, mental health is allowing you to transition between all those different roles. I mean, everybody may want to put on their LinkedIn bio that they're a founder or, they want to tell you that they've sold hundreds of millions worth of stuff and they're going to sell you or they're going to help you by selling more hundreds of millions of stuff. But like I said earlier, a hot dog stand can be niche market domination and they're on a corner killing it and they're just trying to get to the next level. And, maybe they're thinking of a food truck and then brick and mortar, and every step along the way, if they want to keep continuing to dominate, just like at post process, I started from, inventing everything and, writing the software and it wasn't because I wanted to do it. I much prefer much smarter people to be around that are much better at it than me. But I enjoy the interaction. And going back to your question is you want to fall in love with the interactions with the human beings. And the number one thing is mental health. Along that with that mental health is you're a human first. And yes, you want to make, the most successful companies possible, but you want to be the most successful human first. And as
Yeah,
you're growing, you want to be
absolutely.
better humans.
Yeah, no, I think it's all there. We want to help others, work with others, and have success with others so that we have folks to enjoy it with. So there's those things that are out there, and we hear it all the time, physical, mental, and spiritual.
Mhm.
How do you balance that with yourselves as a leader, to help others to be able to do it? So, people taking walks, going to a gym. It's just to get some blood circulation, mental to kind of get yourself balanced so that you're, hey, I'm ready to come and help folks today. Do you ever look at it in terms like that to help others, especially from that mental aspect?
Yeah, I struggle with it. I am anybody that says that they, got it and, this, they either have a very strong support network, they didn't get it naturally. And in niche market domination is you're learning these things. I never knew how much mental health was important. I never knew how much all these other things were important because I didn't realize I was failing, and to be able to um yes, I'm autistic. I get it. Every it's the new benefit to society is taking people that can handle a whole bunch of stuff and throw them in the corporate world and see what they can do. Great, but that comes at a personal sacrifice that I don't know oftentimes that I'm being overworked because I'm overstimulated and I enjoy being overstimulated, but doesn't necessarily make me the best person to be around all the time. And I don't even know that I'm not the best person to be around, So um
How do you work at that, Daniel? To kind of say, hey, I know I have some shortcomings, but you know what? I also know that I can get better at it. And here's how I'm doing that. And don't get me wrong, I don't wanna,
No, no, no. So
what you're comfortable sharing with, because
I'm
sometimes
an
that's
open book.
personal offense, and I get it.
I'm an open book, and I'm sorry for talking over you.
No.
Um, it hurts. It I mean, there could be I could have 100 text messages on my phone that I haven't responded back. And it's the weight of just being able to respond that is heavy. You know, people could just be, wanting the simple, "Are you alive?" And I'm like, but I'm so focused that I'm not alive. So um the beauty of being able to handle things is I'm falling in love. There's so many problems to fall in love with every day. And I can spend 40 minutes, 20 minutes fantasizing, on how to start a company to solve this problem. And and that's a recreational activity, so when you're growing mental health and physical health, it's not really talked about. It's, um, you don't want to burn as many calories. You don't want to be burnt out, and you don't want to. But until you really make that self-sacrifice, you don't really understand what you're losing, and it's tremendously hard. The people at the top, when um they want to be, there's people at the bottom that want to tear you down. I didn't start post process to be at the top. I started post process
Yeah,
because there was no one to the left of me, the right of me, so I had to be.
yeah, yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. No, hey, thank you for sharing it. I think it's things that it's a journey with our physical, mental, spiritual well-being that we're all on. And it's, we we keep again getting back to the point we try to make ourselves 1% better so that we can make the folks and the team and the company around us 1% better as well every day. So I applaud you for recognizing it because there's many people out there don't, and and working to get there. And some days, it's just that journey and keep going and having that support network that's going to help pick you up when you slip sometimes. And we're there to pick others up when they slip sometimes too. So, thank you for that. So that gets back to probably my last question because I appreciate all of your time today. As you're managing and you're on your journey to developing the business, in the target to dominate, there has to be some challenges in navigating that with a specialized glove, especially when it comes to adaptability and resilience. Have you had any experiences where you've had to make those changes or pivot in certain ways that have kind of made, your experience that much better and that much more gratifying in the journey that you're on?
I never knew that I was on a people journey until, year 2 or year 3 of starting post process. Um, and I did not have a lot of successful people around me. I didn't want to, I didn't start post process in order to be successful. I started post process in order to be successful at solving problems, and to go back to your question you have to understand the journey that you're on. Everybody's journey is a people story. And I never delineated between people that were kind to me that were not my friends. They were just, oh, well, he's the CTO or he's the president or, so they're always going to be kind to you. I'll tell you um, a small story from a reading, Dale Carnegie, and it was about a successful CEO, and he went to a conference and he talked about it. He got off the private plane, someone got his bags. He went through this whole thing. The room was all checked in, the bed was, folded down. And then the next year he wasn't CEO. And he took a commercial flight. He sat in coach He had to check in, he had to get the cab, he had to take his own bags, and when he went to the same conference, no one knew him because he wasn't the CEO. You have to understand, are people doing it for the position or the person?
Interesting analogy on that. That's for sure. So, hey, Daniel, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for coming on board and being part of the Scaling
My
Up
pleasure.
podcast. I hope that you enjoyed sharing your story. I love learning about you, and hopefully we can do this podcast and broadcast that we share with others to help them learn as well, because our goal is to spread what's going on, help each other get better 1% each day by learning from one another. So I want to thank you for that.